Only days ago, Kabul airport was the focus of one of the biggest airlifts in history. Today it is silent. Like the rest of the country, air traffic is in a holding pattern as the world waits to see what kind of government will emerge. Analysts say the biggest challenge will be including all the Taliban's various factions.
They have to satisfy the Haqqani group. They have to satisfy some of their groups from all parts of Afghanistan. They have to satisfy some of their regional backers. And they have to satisfy the old guard and the young fighters.
The key question, have the Taliban changed?
The political echelon of the Taliban today has many leaders from the 1990s. So due to that, I think there is abundant continuity in how the Taliban think about their politics. The core values of the group are very similar.
In recent weeks, there have been mixed messages about how the Taliban will treat women. One group took to the streets of the western city of Herat, demanding that the country's new leaders include women in the government. A different kind of resistance is gathering strength just north of Kabul. The Panjshir Valley is the last of 34 provinces resisting the Taliban. The steep mountainous region is a natural fortress, and thousands of fighters are said to be massing under the banner of the National Resistance Front of Afghanistan. The group's leader, Ahmad Massoud, has been in talks with the Taliban, but those negotiations have broken down. Heavy fighting reported in recent days. Elsewhere, another battle looms, with an enemy that can't be defeated by guns and bullets. The UN says severe drought has destroyed 40% of the grain harvest, putting 14 million people at risk.
The situation that we have unfolding at the moment is absolutely horrendous and could morph into just a humanitarian catastrophe.
This in a country where up to 80% of finances came from foreign aid, funding that has now mostly dried up. Turkey and Qatar are leading efforts to reopen Kabul's airport, with humanitarian aid a priority. It may be at least a week before flights reopen to civilian traffic. For now, the only way out is by land. Thousands on the move, exacerbating the threat from COVID-19. Nick Wells, SBS World News.
The United States says it airlifted more than 120,000 people from Kabul, but many Afghans who applied for a special visa, including interpreters who worked with American forces, have been left behind. Some recall being beaten as they tried to get to the airport.
This woman was an interpreter for the US Department of State and Defense in Afghanistan for 5 years. She tried and failed to get airlifted.
That makes me hopeless because we serve for the US government. They say in the social media we are helping our allies. How many of your allies have been evacuated?
She says she and her family were beaten and pushed back from the airport gates by US-funded militias known as NDS Zero units. They were led by the CIA.
My family members got injured because of these people. These people did. The unit 01 and 02. They were trying to kill everybody. They didn't care even you're a kid, you're young, you're whatever. They were just trying to harm you.
Al Jazeera filmed the Zero units as they moved into position at the airport, seemingly with immunity, one day after the Taliban took control of Kabul. In recent years, Zero units have been widely accused of human rights abuses, conducting violent night raids and acting with impunity.
It's a worst nightmare, and a lot of those guys were just bounty hunters. They were paid assassins, simple as that. The NDS couldn't even call them, forget about controlling them. It was a total CIA operation, and one day they have to answer to the American people.
The US put them in charge of the airport's northern perimeter to separate Western forces from the Taliban. The militia members banned filming, so we recorded on our phones. This is how they treated people trying to leave. Shooting appeared to be their preferred method of crowd control. The interpreter told us they would let her leave if she paid them $5,000 for each family member. Married with 3 young children, she did not have the necessary $25,000 to pass. Other Afghans corroborated her claims of bribery. They all confirmed the US-funded units let people into the airport without identification or valid paperwork.
I was the witness. I have been watching them. We were just hopeless to seeing all these people have been evacuating from the safe gates.
The Taliban took over this area from the Zero units on Saturday morning. We spoke with them earlier in the week and we were told that they were from the 03 from Kandahar, from the 02 in the east and from the 01 in Kabul. They told us that they were here to create a buffer zone between the Taliban and Western forces and that in exchange they would be evacuated. Thousands of the militia and their families were prioritised for evacuation, the Taliban quickly filling the void. Interpreters and other US allies are angry that militia members were flown out, while they, who helped foreign forces for years, have been left behind.